and this is as real as it gets.
This is Phoebe Price, and you're listening to the UCW radio show. In your face.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-published number.
You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
Welcome to the UCW Radio Show. I'm your host, Lou Velasquez, and today we have a great guest on the show. Some have called him the original bad boy stockbroker of Wall Street. For those moviegoers that have heard or seen the new Michael Douglas movie, Money Never Sleeps, this guy, when the original movie was made, he was in the trenches, moving and shaking and making magic on Wall Street. He's seen everything from the crash of '87 to the recent explosion in the global financial markets. But since the collapse of the financial markets, the Madoffs, the Alan Stanfords, that type of thing, he's been dealing with his own horror. And that horror could land him in prison for the next 25 years. But as opposed to me telling that story, we're going to let him tell that story. And he's on hold right now. So without further ado, let's bring on the provocative and sometimes controversial Ross Mandell. All right, Ross, welcome to the UCW Radio Show. How are you?
Good, Lou. How are you today?
Pretty good, Ross. Thank you. And I also want to thank you for coming on the show today. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your very hectic and busy schedule as of late.
Thank you, Lou. I mean, it's just a privilege to be asked. You're a terrific guy, and I'm just grateful to be here today.
Who lied to you? Somebody was lying to you.
I gotta say nice things. You're my host today.
Yeah, I know. Well, you don't have to be so nice, but but
I am grateful, though.
Well, I appreciate it. But I want Ross, I want people to get a little more familiar with you before we go forward, because you have an interesting story. Your background, I find it intriguing, and for some, it's going to be inspirational. But I want to give some broad strokes on you. You were a big mover and shake on Wall Street from the mid-'80s till about, 2007, 2008, about then, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and you've done everything from IPOs to raising capital, from guiding your clients into profitable situations to weathering the crash of '87 and the most recent debacle that the global markets have seen. So, you've seen it all.
You know what, Lou? I really have seen it all, and I'll say it like this. I was a young stockbroker with E.F. Hutton in 1983, got licensed, became a very successful broker, and made some moves into the business, trying to always better myself, and ultimately opened up my own brokerage firm in the mid-'90s, sold it, and then I did it again in 2001. And took it public. I was the first American to take a regulated American business public on the London Stock Exchange.
And that was Sky Capital, right?
That's correct. And we had quite a run. We, for about a year and a half, were the number one performing financial stock in Europe. And so I built a name for myself that way.
But what I find interesting, Ross, is that you've done all these great things, but when you kind of retired from the business. And people from Wall Street, they call it the business, so the listeners understand that. You retired from the business, and but you were hit with charges that could land you in jail for upwards of 25 years. That must.
That's true, Lou. And just to put some sort of color on that, I was a very successful Wall Streeter for a long time. However, I was an alcoholic and an active addict. Probably from the time I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I ultimately got sober in 1990, which was my 7th year in the business. And I had run-ins with customers and some sort of hairy situations. Never too serious, but certainly the kind of trouble you like to avoid. And I think my alcoholism made me more of an abrasive character than I am
right.
as a sober guy. Now, recently, it's 2010. In fact, just 3 weeks ago, I celebrated 20 years of continuous sobriety.
Oh, good for you. Congratulations.
Now, as you know, in business and the media, the file always stays open. So the issues that I had when I was drinking and running around and stockbrokering have followed me and plagued me forever. You know, in the program of recovery, they call that the wreckage of your past.
Right.
You know, you can clean it up, but, you know, the file is the file. And it always caused me a whole lot of trouble, even though the issues that occurred were in the 80s. Even as recently as a couple of years ago, I'm still answering for them.
I believe that.
You know, that's the way it is now. What happened was, I in spite of it all, I overcame a lot. And overcame, you know, the file, and a day at a time built myself into a substantial Wall Streeter. In fact, I'm going to be on national television tonight.
You're going to be
I'm
on
going to be
True
on
TV,
Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura on True TV at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And Jesse Ventura calls me the ultimate Wall Street insider, because I've been there for 27 years, and I played at the highest levels with the biggest guys. And what happened was, I was the first American to take this regulated business public on the London Stock Exchange. I brought 2 companies public there. I created a footprint so that, because they said it was impossible, could never be done, had never been done, and I showed them how it could be done, that it was much, much less expensive than going public on NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange.
You're a smart guy,
And
Ross.
And it was a much more reasonable regulatory system. And after I went public the second time, which was 2004, about 250 other companies went public in London, and then they started to trade throughout Europe. They went public in Germany, they went public in Amsterdam, and that sort of a thing. And I was the American that paved that path. And a lot of people resented me for it, especially in America, in the industry, in New York, on NASDAQ and all that, because a lot of business went that way. They could have stayed, you know, on the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. And I became almost like public enemy number one in the regulatory sense because of that success I had.
Well, I'm not shocked about either, because, you know, hey, look, you're a New Yorker. You know, you were born and raised in New York, right, Ross?
Yes, I come from Long Island, the Five Towns area in the South Shore of Long Island.
Okay, so you know how it is here. You know, they'll cheer you when you're down, but when you go up, they're cheering you to fall down as well. So, you know, you have that dilemma on your hands. So you've had it.
You know, unfortunately, Lou, it's like human nature. It's like when you see an old lady trip on the sidewalk in Manhattan, it's like a lot of people are laughing and smiling. A couple people will run over and help her, but a lot of people are snickering like that. You know, unfortunately, Americans love a train wreck. People love to see others fail. It's an unfortunate thing. A lot of people like to see people that are doing worse than them.
Yep.
And, you know, it's an unfortunate commentary.
It is, and it's sad. It's a sad state, you know, because you go other places, they're not like that. But again, you know, you've weathered everything, and this right here is not going to be anything different. That I'm pretty sure of. You know, but you know, I find it funny, Ross, that look, you got tagged in this multi-million-dollar, and it's an alleged scheme that they tagged on you.